Okay, it's official. Elon Musk is letting Alex Jones back on Twitter. We got that. A lot of other things to talk about. Yeah, it's going to be a good show. I've got somebody in the studio with me. Let's go for it. Okay, welcome back to Continue Freedom. If this is your first time here, welcome. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave comments below. We are on X, Locals, Rumble, and YouTube. All right, so got my big brother in the house.
I'm glad to be back.
Good to be back. Good to be back. That was a good show. We had a good one last time. It was enjoyable, so I said, you know what? I might as well have him back.
I had fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's always fun to disagree or agree to disagree and then hug afterwards.
We're gonna disagree about some stuff because you said you wanted to talk about the debate, and
I didn't. That's what you said.
And Vivek
But
Ramaswamy,
yeah, we do disagree on that.
I'm singing the guy's praises these days, and I don't know if you're necessarily on board with it or not. But either way, let's get to the big topic first.
Okay. Yeah.
And that is that Alex Jones has been reinstated on X. And basically what Elon did was he posted on, I wasn't a huge fan of the way he did this because he did it by poll. And what it should have been is, no, the guy didn't violate the community guidelines. He's seen the records. He was able to look at the I guess the code or whatever it is. I'm not a coder. But he was able to look at the back end of Twitter and see why he was deplatformed. But the people voted Vox Populi, Vox Dei, Dia. I don't speak Latin, but 70% to 70.1% to 29.9%. And that was out of 1,966,125 votes.
Basically 2 million, man. You're getting awful specific on that.
So, so they wanted him.
2 million votes. That's simple.
2 million votes. Well, I was trying to be precise here.
Yeah, well,
the details matter. Maybe not that much.
And then they'll be like, oh, there was a 67 guy there
may be some math nerds out there that want to sit down and do the math. I wonder how many people actually voted. 70.1%. Okay. Not making fun of math nerds. Yeah, love you guys.
Yeah, thank heavens. Good.
But anyway, yeah, we need you all.
Yeah,
so
most certainly.
He said the people have spoken and then let Alex Jones back on the platform, which was awesome. And I went to X and they were doing a Spaces. It was a live voice only type thing, but they had Brandon Tate. Is it Brandon? I think not Brandon.
Andrew.
Tate. Andrew Tate. They had Andrew Tate, General Flynn, of course Elon Musk, and Alex Jones. And Mark Dice was on there for a little while. They had a whole bunch of people. So some big, Vivek Ramaswamy was on there for a little while anyway. And they had hundreds of thousands of people watching it. And they conducted an interview. And so it was cool that it was this, there was a lot of hoopla around this, you know. There was a lot of fanfare about, hey, somebody has been unbanned. And, you know, we spoke briefly about it, but it's the fact that Elon is he's really a First Amendment purist in a lot of ways, and
he's not. So, and we talked about this too, but he's not really a conservative by any means, but he is for the freedom of speech, and I think deep down, he does have a lot of the values of the conservative people. I mean, that anybody in this country can rise to the occasion. Anybody in this country can do something great, no matter your race or creed. He's for the freedom of speech. I mean, Elon
I think he's for the Second Amendment too. I mean, I don't want to quote him on that. But
there you go. So heaven forbid, he's got way more billions than we do. So
yeah. But I mean, he said, and this is what he said in the Spaces interview: is I believe in the Constitution, the rule of law. So I won't allow things that are illegal on the platform. I won't do things that are in violation of the Constitution. And I mean, it's about as straightforward as it gets.
And him allowing Alex Jones, because he's been putting some of these people back off, that Twitter, before it turned to X, but when Twitter had kicked him off because they had an agenda. I mean, with the Communist Democrat Party, they had an agenda.
I love how it's always the Communist Democrat Party. You just don't call them the Democrats, do you?
No, that's what they are. I mean, you look at what they stand for. This is definitely the Communist Democrat Party. They're complete government takeover. But anyway,
it's like I told you before. I think there's unipartians, as I like to call them, which is a phrase I'm going to coin. If anybody starts saying Unipartian, they got it from this show is Unipartians, and that's the big R Republicans.
I trademark it.
I ought to. This I think is public record. I believe I can say that I'm the first person to coin this term. But yeah, like those people, I get it. Like Marxism. I don't know. We could probably debate that about whether I think it's actual communism, but it's
Marxism at its best, which is a lead into communism. I mean, you look back at Stalin and what he did.
Well, yeah.
So I mean, it's basically Marxism leads into communism, no matter which way you look at it.
Yeah.
So I'll pass through history.
Well, a form of it anyway.
Yeah.
They just haven't tried the right version of it yet. I think that's
what are you talking about? Like every version they try has totally failed.
I shouldn't laugh about that because I mean, Marxism is 100 million people who have lost their lives because of it, but.
When you put it that way, Jesus,
drag
us down in the dirt. It's the truth, say that, but at the same time, geez.
I'm trying to make fun of the college kids. We just haven't done it the right way yet. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I think it was, might have been Jordan Peterson that said, so if you were the benevolent dictator, you would do it differently. That's how you have to approach socialism and Marxism. But anyway, I think this is a huge win. This is absolutely a huge win. Here's some of my takeaways from this. I think Elon is trying to say, I think this is multifaceted in why he did this. But one is he's saying, I don't care about everybody's opinion. I'm going to allow the users of my platform to make this determination, whether or not the guy should come back.
And also, he got kind of ticked off at the last words of his sponsors and all.
Right.
By them totally manipulating his wording and saying that he told his advertisers to F off, and
he said, yeah, if you're going to blackmail me.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to blackmail me, and why would you want somebody to blackmail you and sit there and tell you, because Disney's used to dictating to people, this is what you're going to say, and if you don't, we're going to cut our funding to you.
Right.
And that's exactly how they work it. Well, they ran into Elon Musk, and Elon works it a whole lot different. Fine. You want to do this? I'm going to start putting these people back on. And I'll show you how freedom of speech actually works in this country. You let them speak their mind.
You're kind of making what I had as my fourth point on this one is that
man,
because no, you're fine. It's fine. You do things out of order. That's okay. This isn't a structure.
You never know what you're gonna get.
I go off of a basic outline. That's all I need. But no, is that because he's lost money, he's trying to beef up, his user base. And bringing on somebody who's controversial, somebody who's been banned for a long time.
Alex Jones is definitely controversial.
Yeah. And so I saw in his feed, Elon had, I think said they in 1 month they had gotten 10 million new users, which is pretty wild.
Oh, wow.
So it's a not a publicity stunt.
No.
But it's serving the purpose of increasing awareness of X, get people talking about X again.
Well, people in this country, and as I watch the news and I listen to all the articles, a lot of people are in a different place politically and constitutionally than they were 10 years ago. And they're starting to wake up and realize what the real Communist Democrat Party is about. And so they're about manipulating the system through their cash flow. And Elon's going at it and going, hey, you know what? I got the cash. We're going to do this. And we're going to make it work. And so far it's working. He's a brilliant man. That's not what he is. I mean, he is the smartest man in the world. So.
He's definitely a brilliant man. And I think that I'm trying to find this next article because this kind of falls along the same lines of that. But X has not been incredibly, successful since he's taken it over. He's had a lot of hurdles, and I still want to know. Early on they were saying, okay, the valuation of $44 billion or whatever it was he paid for it was way over above and beyond what it should have been. And I think that early talk about it was that he was trying to back out.
He did try to,
but they made him buy it, and so he bought it at this horribly inflated price. And so now he's just trying to make the best out of it.
Yeah, but Elon had all the major news networks, all the CNNs, the NBCs, the CBSs, the ABCs, all those major news networks fighting against him the whole way because he wanted a free speech platform and they did not want it because guess what? He was taking away a platform that they were using to manipulate the system.
Sure.
So he just knocked off that many years. So they're going to make it as hard on him as they can because look at Donald Trump and what they're doing to him just because he went against what their beliefs are.
It's no different than Rockefeller fighting back against the smaller companies that were trying to come up and taking a piece of his market share, right? He was able to drop the price of gas and control the system and knock him out of business.
Which ironically, I find that there are companies doing the same thing Rockefeller did these days, and they're saying nothing to him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But the thing is, it's a big win for free speech. Now, free speech, you can go into some, you can get into some dicey territory talking about it, which we're not going to. Right. But a key component of this is it's exemplified here. 74 House members issue a letter calling on MIT, Harvard, and UPenn boards to immediately remove the presidents. One of them has been removed. So the UPenn, the lady on the far right, she actually has been removed as the UPenn president.
Oh, look at her face, though. Jesus, yeah, she's sour.
Do not look like happy people. Now,
have you ever noticed something? Listen, I want to jump off the subject just a little bit. Have you ever noticed how the communist Democrats are always sour? Look at the pictures of these people. How many of them are actually smiling like, hey, we're doing something right? Though they're
as a guy who's done this for a living, you can get a look on anyone's face. If you listen to any they could be sitting there talking about their grandkids, and you're going to be able to get a photo of them making a scowl.
Yeah.
But I will say they are angry people. They are not happy people.
No.
So you're 100% correct in that.
See,
and
I know
Fox
I was
News,
right. Yeah.
Come on, Fox News is going to pick those photos to represent.
Well, I bet if you pick the CNN photo, you pick a picture. They have a picture of him yelling back at a congressman, so they're just mad all the time.
Well, yeah,
they're just always angry. It's like we got to have it our way, or that's the only way we're going to do it.
So this lady on the left, she's the Harvard president, and she used to be the dean. And on X, as I was on there today researching some stuff, her name's Claudine Gay, I believe is her name. And the letters just sound Claudine, but I'm almost certain her last name, I think it's Claudine Gay. And the letter that she wrote, this is right when she came on board as the dean for Harvard. This is straight out of the DEI, don't like, a certain race of people handbook. It's scathing. And so everybody's like, look at this. This is where she started off, But so you kind of know where these people are kind of the starting point for them. But the reason they are calling on them to be removed is because of the anti-Semitism on all of these campuses. And there's videos out there of pro-Hamas demonstrators yelling for intifada. They're yelling from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. And the debate has become, is that a call to action? Intifada is, most definitely. But they're also, in some of these same videos that you're seeing, cornering Jewish students, right? So they're...
Well, I mean, what do you think, though? When they're out there protesting, these people are doing nothing about it. They're letting the anti-Semitism roll free on their campus when they're doing nothing about it. What do you think it is inciting? Well, I mean, it is inciting. They're trying to incite violence.
Well, and this is part of the video, so... It's 5 minutes long. I'm not going to play a 5-minute video.
Yeah.
But this was Elise Stefanik, and you can recommend everybody go out and actually watch this video. But this is her. It is Claudine Gay. That's her name right there. It was Elise Stefanik questioning Claudine Gay about these calls for intifada across the globe, calling for the Jews to be wiped off the face of the earth, and da. And she would not condemn it. She was trying to say this is protected speech. Well, naturally, leave it to the internet.
Hey, go there and wear a Trump shirt and see what they do to you.
Exactly. And so there was, I wish I could remember who had posted this, but here's another post, and this is from, I didn't grab the source of it. But either way, this is the point they were making. In the hearings, President Gay actually said with a straight face that we embrace a commitment to free expression even of views that are objectionable, offensive, hateful. This is the president whose university mandates all students attend Title IX training sessions where they are told that fat phobia and cis-heterosexism, I don't know what that is.
Cis-heterosexism.
Cis-hetero, thank you. Cis-heterosexism are forms of violence and that using the wrong pronouns constitutes abuse. This is the same president who engineered the ouster of a law professor, Ronald Sullivan, simply because he represented a client of whom gay and students rightly but irrelevantly disapproved, Harvey Weinstein. This is the same president who watched a brilliant and popular professor, Carol Hooven, be effectively hounded out of her position after a public shaming campaign by one of her department's DEI enforcers and a mob of teaching fellows because Hooven dared to state on television that biological sex is binary. This is the president of a university where a grand total of 1.46% of faculty call themselves conservative and 82% call themselves liberal or very liberal. This is the president of a university which ranks 248 out of 248 colleges this year on free speech, and Penn, which is the lady that was actually kicked out, was 247th, according to the Foundation of Individual Rights and Expression. Harvard is a place where free speech goes to die. And so what they're saying is that now that this one person is gone, the other two, you've got to go as well. And what I'm hoping this does is I'm hoping it spawns conversations in more of these Ivy League institutions where people are saying, okay, let's solidify our position that you can't call for violence on our campus.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's 100% right. With her, and it's just like I was saying, you go represent some of these people on here represented. They let's go back to this. Okay. Simplification as a matter of speaking. Harvard, Yale, those are the Ivy League schools. Everybody's been told all their lives, hey, I want to go to Harvard, Yale, Princeton, those places like that. But you look at the freedom of speech at Harvard, okay?
There is no freedom of speech.
There is no freedom of speech at Harvard. You're dictated to by and told what you can and can't believe on campus. Exactly. So is this what's going on right now? What they're learning in Harvard right now is how bad the Jewish people are, because it is a representation. Those students, their little minds filled with mush are molded into exactly what these people are molding them into.
Yeah.
And so with that, what are they molding these people that are supposed to be representative of this country? And you look at them.
They're supposed to be the institutions of higher learning. These are people that are going to get the jobs in D.C. These are the people that are going to get the jobs.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so they're supposed to represent our country. A lot of them are going to be representing our country. And here they are being told that that's okay to do. And I
think that it's educated, stupid people. So just because you have higher education doesn't mean that you're all that bright, because nobody with a sane mind would say that global intifada is not you can't argue that that's not a call to violence, I don't believe. And B, think that is a moderate position of any kind, of it, like any intellectual position. But at Harvard and at MIT and at UPenn, this is acceptable. And I guarantee you it's at Stanford, it's at Yale, it's at all the other Ivy League schools and all the institutes of higher learning. Like we were saying, that's how you get a marketing professional working for Bud Light, probably had some fancy degree, and they tank an entire company with one ad.
Yuri Bezmenov. Have you ever watched his video on YouTube?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I don't think so.
And I touched on it the last time too.
Oh,
but I remembered his name.
That guy.
Yeah, the KGB agent. You change generations over time. You don't change them all at once. Because if you change them all at once, people are going to rebel. But if you change it over time, they'll go along to get along. And so that's what we're seeing here is we have come to a point in this country, and I think this has been the communist Democrats are coming to a point where they're saying, "Hey, we got to get rid of this." That's why they're doing their little pinpricks over in Israel, and they're doing these little things where they're like, "Oh, we're helping them," when they really don't care. Right. But in all honesty, all they want is to quiet everything down, so that, because this is an election year and everybody's going to be coming to the polls, and this is going to be a huge issue. Now you watch the NBCs, the CBSs, the ABCs, the CNNs, they're all going to start trying to hush it down. They're all going to start quiet. And I hate to say it, but Fox is knocking on the door of that too.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to start subscribing to people to be able to watch what's really going on in this country. And it's getting, because you have to watch both sides of it.
You do.
You can't just limit yourself to, hey, I'm just going to go listen to Newsmax, or I'm going to listen to OAN. You have to go, well, I'm going to force myself to listen to CNN and their stupidity. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I'm going to go listen to this other network and see what's covered and what's not.
That's why I follow CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NPR, all of them. You have to follow all of them. Because
puke emoji, but they are. Yeah, I get you. No, I get you 100%. You have to follow them,
right?
Yeah.
But when you said, you made a point that made me want to bring up this one that we had talked about discussing. But these younger generations, their minds are being warped into these weird realities, and how that's affecting society. And this is actually a pretty important thing. I don't know, have you heard of DINK couples?
I have heard of DINK couples.
So for those of you that don't know, DINK is dual income, no kids. And they're receiving mixed responses after flaunting child-free lifestyle on TikTok. Now, you got to take it into consideration that this is Fox News, but young couples opting out of parenthood are taking to social media giant TikTok to celebrate the joys of child-free living. The term DINK, meaning dual income, no kids, refers to married couples or partners in a committed relationship who remain childless by choice for reasons like lifestyle preference, personal freedom, and financial savings. The acronym has gone viral over the past month as millennial and Gen Z couples flood the social media platform with TikToks highlighting the financial benefits of not having kids, such as midday Costco runs, freedom to travel, spontaneous nights out, extra sleep, and more disposable income. And, we kind of talked about this with Elon Musk as much of a, him and his 160 million X followers, he's fairly influential, on social media. But he's talking about, world population, we can handle a lot more. Yeah. There's a lot of people, World Economic Forum, and those folks that are saying, no, there's way too many people on the planet, and we need to shrink the population.
Which is Bill Gates' idea.
Yep.
So, but
they're brainwashing. If this has become a, hey, have your dual income, but don't have any offspring. So if people are touting that, and they're in line with the people saying don't have more kids, there's too many people on the planet as it is, then it kind of proves the point of.
Ask China how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. They said
they're trying to get people to have more kids
15 years, they're going to be down to like 500 million people.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's not true.
It's like
is it
30 years something? I don't remember. What the exact
but their numbers
is. The numbers are going to be like.
Japan had that problem.
But here is what's going on, and I had a discussion which scared the crap out of me with some younger adults a few weeks ago. And we were talking about environmental issues, and one of their proposals, it was a male and a female, one of their proposals was population control. And I was so taken back by it because I've heard about it talked about. But they have created this stigma around the environmental system. It is the communist Democrats are masters at manipulation. They are masters at sticking together and manipulating the system how they want to. And they have turned this younger generation into thinking, oh my gosh, to save the planet, we have to have either don't have kids, or I agree with abortion to kill off the kids, But you also said something in what you just read, and financially stable, being able to go on vacation, do all that. They propose it as a big joyful thing to not have kids. It's a great thing if you don't have kids because you have the freedom to do all this. Well, that is manipulating you into thinking it is okay not to have children and to save the planet at the same time. So we're doing all this.
It meets all your most selfish needs.
Exactly.
It meets
100%.
It's just about me. And meanwhile, we are going to be in our country as it stands right now is going to be in population decline. Like our numbers are going down. We're approaching the same numbers as Japan when they started reaching population decline. And that there's no good outcome. Here's what I will say. Here's the positive. I've heard a couple of commentators say this, and I'm glad they were saying it. But it is 100% true, and it is that there's one side of the political spectrum who's doing that. It's not conservatives doing that. By and large, I won't say unilaterally, but who are the people who are raised in, let's say, more stable families? Who are the people that are more likely to get married? Who are the people that are more likely to have kids? Who
it's
are the
conservatives.
Who are the people that are more likely to be involved in a church or in communities like that?
And that's proven. That is proven
100%,
fact. 100% proven fact, because they're 100% proven that more conservatives are in a more stable family.
Yeah.
So I mean,
same thing goes with abortion. It's harsh to say. It is harsh to say, but the only people having abortions are liberals.
And you look at the pictures of the communist Democrats you just pulled up and how sour they were. They don't have kids.
Right.
I don't know. I can't say that 100%. I'm just
they might
spouting off.
They're just making more miserable people. But by and large, it's conservatives. We are going to conservative people are going to flip those numbers, and we're going to be producing well more than them. Because one of the other stories that I sent to you, this was in goodness. I always hate when I do that. I can't pull them up fast enough.
It wasn't on Instagram, was it?
No.
I am not a technological guy like he is.
No, but here's the other thing they're calling for. In one of the most liberal places on the face of the earth, Canada, it is now euthanasia in Canada is one of the leading causes of death. This is where we're going. We have abortion. We have families, like no families. We have a guy. There's a dude on, I wish I could remember his name. He was all over Instagram. He was on TikTok. He was on all that. He was on the Whatever podcast. Have you ever seen the Whatever podcast? And he said...
I only watch Continue Freedom podcast. What are you talking about?
There you go. That's the only thing you need to watch, really. Except I don't have this guy's thing to show to you. I should have. But they are, without getting into the details of it, he is... Well, what he said was pretty deplorable. He said that if any man on the planet had a button that they could push and nobody would know, and they could hit it and they could have sexual relations with any woman that they wanted to, and they could still go home and kiss their wife and kiss their kids goodnight, they would do it. It's the most deplorable thing I've ever heard in my life. And it shows that, and this is a guy who gets a lot of playtime on TikTok, on Instagram, and all that stuff. But that is truly what he thinks, is that men are just degenerates. And when people talk about it like that, if a person like that saying something like that means that he can't imagine a world where that isn't the case. He doesn't understand the relationships that we have with our wives.
He has grown up in that world.
Exactly.
And he has been molded to think that specific way.
Right. So he's promiscuous, he's unfaithful, and he's not going to have a stable family life. So this is the liberal mindset. This is where they're going. They have completely cheapened the relationship between husband and wife. They have cheapened the value of family, and now, like in this, they are for abortion. They are for not having kids is where they've moved.
And to think years ago they convicted Dr. Kevorkian of doing the same thing.
Exactly.
What they're doing here.
And now it's a leading cause of death in Canada. 3% is what they're saying. Now, this specific article from the Post Millennial says in the database, the underlying cause of death is defined as the disease or injury that initiated the train of morbid events leading directly to the death. So that would mean that if a person has long-term terminal cancer and they say, I just want to commit suicide, they list it as a cancer death. They don't list it as suicide. So they're already starting to mask the numbers. And that means that if they say they've had 5,000, I'm trying to look at here it is. In 2022, the most recent year with figures available, over 13,200 people used, they call it MAID, which is medical assistance in dying, I believe is what it's called, to kill themselves. The previous year accounted for over 10,000 suicides. MAID is now responsible for 3% of all deaths in Canada. And as you scroll down here, they are expecting, I'm trying to find that number, but that number to skyrocket to something like 20 or 30,000. And that's a massive.
Well, in Canada, think of how small Canada truly is. It's a large area, but there is a small, very not condensed population. It's a very small population in such a large area. But you know, when you talk about Canada and you bring this up, what Canada is doing is what the U.S. communists want to do. So this is like telltale signs when you see this stuff going on. It's not something that you go, it's Canada. And that's what a lot of people think. Well, it's Canada. Why is it relative to the U.S.?
Because Canada and Europe are precursors, just like California is
to the way we're going to do business. And Obamacare, this is Obamacare. This is what it's going to result in. Death panels. Mm-hmm. Exactly what this is.
Yeah.
And the government deciding that you live or die. And
they're expanding it. So here's the crazy part. And I don't know why this isn't, it's skipping through me here. They're talking about this being used not just for terminal disease, but patients' mental disabilities. They're talking about using this. This is eugenics. They're talking about if you could be an alcoholic, you could have depression.
Which is how Hitler started his whole agenda.
200%. 200%.
So, where do you stop? I talked to somebody the other day and I realized, her aunt had Down syndrome or has it. And she is 66 years old, which is, unheard of with people like that. But she was always very close to her because of her, when she was younger, her mental capacity, it was on her level when she was younger, when she was 6, 7 years old. So you're taking, to take a life and I may have said it in the last, but those people, I've said it before, are super happy people. I like to see them like in real life.
Yeah.
They're just, it's like nothing. They're just happy all the time. Yeah. It's not like, and
they're an actual joy in the world.
And yes, and they got a special place in heaven.
Yeah.
And I think you're saying, because they'll come to a mother and say, hey, your child's going to have Down syndrome. They're going to play it on like, oh, you're going to have all these medical bills. You're going to have all this stuff going on. And I think that a lot of parents would say, I still want to have the baby. Absolutely. There's some of them that will say, well, I don't want, an imperfect child. And we're all imperfect in the long run. But what they're going to do is, and I fear this with all your Obamacare and all your other aspects of the federal government taking over your insurance. What I fear is what they do is how they play on you financially. And they'll say, well, we're no longer going to give you assistance to take care of this child.
Right.
And then what does a parent have to do? You want the kid, you want the child, you want that joy in your life, whatever the situation may be when that child comes out. And yet you're going to be forced with millions of dollars of bills. You're going to try to make it happen. But
that's the thing. It's a key point, Clint, is that the Bible. I don't bring it up a whole lot, but
right.
people that believe in God, people that have they understand the sanctity of that human life. And when places like Canada are saying we can kill these people, we can kill these, they see the defect in the person. The parents don't see that defect. They recognize the defect. That's not what I'm saying, but it's not even a defect. It's just the way that they're made.
It's the way they
it's
were.
That like a parent will not do that, but the government, you are right, will try to pressure them to do that. Why? Because the government has a vested financial interest in every person. When they control the insurance, when they control the medical care, they have a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers. Mm-hmm. So they're going to find the most expeditious way to get that off the books. And this is the kind of crap that they're going to put forward. It is absolutely horrific. It is absolutely immoral. It is eugenics.
Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
There is under no circumstance should this ever come to the United States. And I don't think it's here. I mean, I'm almost certain that it's not. I mean, like you said, Kevorkian was a good example of that. But yeah, it's part of the brainwashing, man. It's part of the population control. It's part of the, Klaus Schwab would love nothing more than to have euthanasia legalized in America.
Because who's going to live? Klaus Schwab, George Soros, all those guys. They're not going to do anything to them because they're the multi-billionaires that are funding them.
Yeah, they're not going to do anything to them.
So I mean, but it's the poor people at the people at the bottom, the middle class and the lower class that are trying to make a living and try to earn their taxes. Those are the ones that are going to be like, we don't want to fool with you. You aren't important enough.
That's exactly right. And there's always going to be a tiered
every person
system
in this country is just as important as the other.
Yep.
And they don't look at it that way.
No, Bill Gates doesn't see you and I as the same we aren't on the same level with him. He's obviously much smarter. He's much better. So he should, get his cheeseburgers when he wants his cheeseburgers, or he should, eat the way he wants to eat, live the way he wants to live, because he's got to keep up his strength to make sure that we are thinking the right way, living the right way, doing the right things, and acting in accordance with his grander plan for the earth. Same thing with Klaus Schwab.
Yeah.
You little people, don't worry. You'll get your rental house. You'll get your electric car that's good for a 75-mile radius.
And you'll be satisfied.
And you'll be very happy.
And that's what they said.
Your bug burgers and all.
Yeah. Bug burgers.
So,
oh God, that's nasty.
To make sure that
I know they're pushing that, but it's still nasty. I can't. Oh God.
Sorry, I've stepped on a cockroach before. I have no interest in eating one.
Hey, awful crunchy. This crunchiest burger.
Golly, it's nasty. Okay, so this is here's something for which I do not have any slides, but we said we were going to talk about it.
Oh.
Did you? We got in a pretty interesting conversation the other night about Vivek, DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, come on, man. Look at this guy. That you tell me that doesn't look like the next president of the United States.
It's like I said before. I think you may have pulled that up before and showed it to me.
Yeah.
And I said he is one hamburger away from a heart attack. Like he is getting ready. Look at him. Like and Christie, the only reason he is still in this race is because the rhinos want him in this race. That is the only reason, because they want him and Haley in there. That's the only reason.
I disagree. Well, okay, I won't say I don't entirely disagree. I think he was in the debate because they knew that DeSantis and Vivek teamed up against Nikki Haley, because Nikki Haley's been leading in the polls, and it was patently obvious or plainly obvious. I don't know what the word is. And you could tell they both were on the offensive. They were not basically nice to each other, so they were playing friendly. Vivek and DeSantis were. I think that the GOP knew that was going to be the case, probably from somebody inside of DeSantis' campaign. So they said, who are we going to get that's good? Chris Christie. He's got 2% or whatever it is.
He's nobody likes him. Loser, man.
And so nobody likes the guy. And in fact, I ought to pull that video up because I think I still have it of Megyn Kelly. Do you remember what Megyn Kelly said? Oh my gosh.
It is so long. And it was so. And watching the debate, you knew how it was going to go. I could fast forward 30 minutes into it, and I still knew what.
I'm gonna play this. So this is for people. I did a whole video, by the way, on just on the debate and why I think Vivek Ramaswamy won. But I don't think Clint, I don't know if Clint agrees with me or not. But this is Megyn Kelly. She did a phenomenal job, man.
She had her facts straight, man.
Oh,
she was
dude,
awesome.
That lady is an absolute rock star. But listen to this.
Really?
Just that
I'm usually not somebody who gets missed, but okay, let's go.
What's happening? Okay, I got you. Listen, you endorsed Donald Trump in 2016 and 2020. You gave him an A for his first term. Since then, however, you've turned on him, calling him a liar, a loser, a con man, and someone who cannot win. You've even said that you got into this race just to stop President Trump. His approval rating with Republicans is currently at 81%. Yours is at 25. Your best state is New Hampshire, and even there, 2/3 of GOP voters say they would be angry and disappointed if you won. Respectfully, Governor, you have not stopped Mr. Trump, and voters may wonder how you could possibly become the nominee of a party that does not appear to like you very much.
I love that question. I was like, you are
and then look
awesome.
at his face afterwards.
Oh, yeah, no. He's like, I mean, it was, oh my gosh. And she was like, dude, she was rapid fire on that all night long. She called everybody out, which is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you aren't supposed to play favorites.
Yeah, she didn't play favorites. It was awesome. But he was there to back up Nikki Haley, which he did. He came to her rescue one time because he said Vivek was questioning her actual intelligence, her base intelligence, and he went on this long tirade about it. But
he always goes on a long tirade about stupid stuff, and he's like, I'm so honest. Donald Trump isn't here tonight. It's like, no crap. We're looking at it. But why would he have to be there? And that's where I think Trump is doing the right thing by staying out of those debates.
Yeah, he doesn't. There's nothing to gain.
There's nothing to gain for him. Everybody knows what kind of job he can do.
Yeah.
And he has already proven himself. He has nothing to prove among those four. And Christie keeps going on about that because he's one of those rhinos.
Let me ask you this. If you had to pick one of the four of those people, who would you pick? Chris Christie, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, or Vivek Ramaswamy?
If I had to pick one for who won
if
the
Trump,
debate?
let's forget about the problems we'll have if Trump isn't able to run and they put him in jail. Now we're talking. That's a whole.
We have no idea what's going to go.
We have no realm. We have no time to even talk about that because that'll take us all night.
Yeah.
But if he wasn't in the picture, if you had to pick one of those four, who would you pick?
So as far as the debate wise, at that debate,
not even the debate. Don't worry about the debate. That's a tough question. I'm putting you on the spot.
You are putting me on the spot on that.
I'm putting you on the spot on that.
So here,
and you don't have to answer. I can, if you want a second to think about it.
Because here's my take, and by watching the debate,
yeah,
and trying to pick who I would go with. Obviously, we know Christie and Haley are government insiders. They're out of the question. So obviously, you got them out of the way. Mm-hmm. You got Ron DeSantis, and you've got Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yep.
And with Ron DeSantis, he has a proven track record of what he's done in Florida.
Right.
Vivek, he is trying too hard right now. I don't think that I watched an interview with Vivek.
He's the longest way to go. He had no name recognition. He had to.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to hit you hard on this one.
I get it. No, and here it is with the Vivek though. Do I agree with his policies and his ideals? Yes. But those policies and ideals that he's got, what he's done is he has taken a page out of Trump's playbook, and he is going after him. He's like the kid on the playground that sees the bigger kid that he wants to be friends with and be a pal with, and he's jumping up and down going, look, I agree with the exact same thing as he does. I do the exact same thing. Now,
I don't think that's I think he is playing smart politics because he doesn't want to he can't alienate the Trump base. If somebody's going to be there to step in if something happens to Donald Trump, or after Donald Trump finishes his second term, and we need somebody that's going to run for office, he can't alienate the base. And so he has to show that he's more vibrant, he's more energetic, that he still supports Donald Trump, but believes he can do a better job than Donald Trump because he has fresh legs to, which is a term he uses a lot, but he's got fresh legs to actually go after it. So it's not that he wants to be like Trump. He's saying, I just want to take it farther than Trump did.
Oh, and so he's got a lot of things that he says, I want to build a wall across Canada too,
right.
like 5,000 miles of border. I think what the American people need right now is to get back to a more stable government. Mm-hmm. And and I'm not saying, when I say stable, I'm saying we need to go back to what the main focus of taking care of the United States of America are. Mm-hmm. Number one, the economy.
Right.
Okay. We've got to fix this economy, but
right.
But we're also going to have to fix our immigration issues.
Right.
And with immigration issues, we'll fix a lot of the drug issues in this country. And because with, I mean,
when you shut the border down, there's nothing coming across. Like, I get that, but I don't think stability, like, I think the whole system has to be shaken up, but it has to be shaken up constitutionally, first off.
Yeah, you have to follow the Constitution. You can't just, and that's one of the things.
You're telling me that if tomorrow we flipped a switch, or let's not even say tomorrow, let's say next November, you flipped a switch, and all of a sudden we had somebody in there who was a statesman, somebody who was eloquent, and who was going to go in and govern accordingly, and they were going to build a border wall, they were going to, fix the drug problem, the drug epidemic coming across the southern border, they're going to stimulate the economy and all that great stuff, that you would be happy just with that.
They don't have to be eloquent. Vivek is just over. He is trying too hard to be the popular kid. And I understand where he's at, but what Vivek needs, I think this will be a good experience for him for future runs. He's not going to pop up as a presidential candidate.
No. I think, again, barring anything happening to Trump, they are going after Trump so bloody hard. I fear that there's going to need to be somebody, like, I'm not entirely convinced that Trump's going to be all right come next November.
Who knows? And the communists are real bad about pulling things out of the hat at the last minute. And that's why I still think they're going to have somebody else run in place of Biden before the next election.
Oh, yeah. So I don't think Biden doesn't have the legs to make
it. Biden is not going to run in the next election.
No, there's no way.
I mean, so who are we going to pick to go up against a vibrant person that the communists are going to bring out at the last minute and try to hit everybody at the last second to say, yes, we're prepared and we're ready. We already have. So just for right now, we do have Trump. He has a proven track record. We know what he's going to do.
He didn't before 2016.
He didn't. I'm not saying that Vivek would not be a good president. I'm not saying that he would be bad. I'm saying this has been a good experience for him to learn the feel of the American people.
I mean, I agree with that.
But he is jumping up and down a little too much, and he starts.
Okay, let's look at it this way. Because we have to talk about this as if Trump isn't going to be in office.
Okay.
So that's how I'm approaching this. Is that Trump? There is no Trump.
Okay, we'll pull Trump out of the picture.
No Trump 2017.
Trump out of the picture.
And so when we get to November of next year,
yes.
And so I'm thinking we have to think electability first off.
Yeah.
But we have to think about policy, right? Nikki Haley and Chris Christie, like you say, they're out.
They're out. They're out.
Worst case scenario is that they pump, with her getting the money from BlackRock and her getting the money from JP Morgan, and then coupling that with the hundreds of millions in the RNC.
And the Koch brothers, don't forget.
And the Koch brothers and, all those people pushing for the establishment, right? That's just who they're going to support because they're the ones everybody's scratching each other's back. If she comes out, then you're going to get your stability. The media will quiet down. Things will, the whole tone of public discourse will change. If Trump gets in, then obviously that's going to be stirring up the hornet's nest, right? It's going to be continuous attacks. Vivek Ramaswamy, much the same. So either of those guys are going to, Ron DeSantis, I think less so. He's going to sit somewhere between Nikki Haley and Vivek. But Ron DeSantis got everything done using the legislature. He did very little in flexing his executive action. The system now, in my opinion, I don't like executive action. I think executive action is terrible. However, our biggest problems are in the federal law enforcement. So the FBI and, let's just start with the FBI. The FBI, the deep state, all these actors inside of the executive branch that are influencing the ability for the president to make decisions and to carry things out.
Who people like Haley and Christie are for.
Exactly, 100%. That whole system has to be burned to the ground. And not figuratively, obviously, but you have to be able to go in and say, we're going to do mass firings of all these people in huge swaths of the FBI. And the analogy I use is that the Hoover building, they need to strip it down completely, pull the copper out of the walls, and turn it into Biden 2024 T-shirt storage. That was my that was my analogy.
For all the ones that didn't sell.
Right. For all the ones that didn't sell, store all the old T-shirts there. But that building needs to go away. The FBI is, and it's going to take somebody who is aggressive enough to do that. Mm-hmm. Ron DeSantis is not that guy. The deep state, the intelligence state, the FBI in particular is a horribly corrupt organization because it's impacted Trump for the past 8 years. Well, 9 years, I guess.
Yeah. They have gone after him. They've been influenced by the political parties, the communists, and they are just their little puppeteer. They're puppets of the Communist Party.
But do you think Ron DeSantis would be a guy that could actually? He's not. I don't think he has the will to go to that level.
With him, I don't know that he doesn't, because he has brought up a lot of fights against him. Now, here's what I'm going to say about DeSantis that Vivek has in his favor. DeSantis is not personally funded.
Correct.
And we see that with these guys, these billionaires that come in, Vivek, Trump, that are personally funded. They got the lawyers and the ability to fight off people as they come and attack them.
Right.
So, I mean, it rolls off them like water off a duck's back. And so because they can tie them up, they're so good. And that's why business owners are so much better at running a government than people like Commie Joe,
right,
who have been in there for 50 years.
So here's my beef with this, and this is something I've thought about this, I think, to the nth degree. Super PACs, I think, are a bad thing. I think we need to get rid of super PACs. I think that Bernie Sanders, for as much as I don't like Bernie Sanders, the way he ran his campaign is the way every campaign should be run. He did not have big money. He had small donors. He used social media. He's doing what Vivek is doing because Vivek has money. He has his own. He has hundreds of millions of dollars at his disposal.
I thought he was worth like $2 billion or something.
I think his company sold for like $1 billion or whatever. I think his take of that was like $500 or $600 million or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's not a small amount of money.
No.
But we can't, if we set the tone for self-funding, then technically Nancy Pelosi in her younger years could have run for office and have been self-funded. She didn't need a super PAC because she made $200 million in Congress, right? Just because they have money doesn't mean that, that it's always a good thing. I think that getting the super PACs out of it, getting the, these massive corporate donations out of it, I think that needs to be a restriction. You have to self-fund one way or another, whether that's using social media, sitting down in long-form interviews, getting a buzz about you, self-raising money.
That's where lobbyist reform should come in.
Right. Oh yeah.
100%. Because so you're diving into that, and that's where lobbyist reform comes in, where these people are making millions of dollars a year, getting these government officials to vote the way that they want them to.
It's their whole job.
So yeah, it's their whole job. So, and
I got us off topic, by the way. I apologize. We got into campaign campaign
finances.
finances.
We were talking about
okay.
Deep topic. So back to your original question. So who would I pick? Trump out of the picture.
Yep.
Between them and so where I was going with it was Vivek is I like a lot of his ideas, but Vivek is I don't think that he's not as aggressive as Christie is. Who Christie lies and he'll tell you he's telling the truth. That's what a used car salesman always does. Come on in here, I always tell you the truth. You know, I'm Honest Joe down here. And this is like, I'm Chris Christie, I'm honest. Oh, come on down here and vote for me. It's like, nah, dude, I know how this rolls.
Yeah.
But the thing with Vivek is that Vivek is very abrasive with his actions. So I don't think he'll make it very far trying to get any agenda passed. And I think if you want to make a difference, you're going to have to go, the Ron DeSantis would be the choice that I would make out of the two of those. Because forget the other two because they're just a bunch of commies. But
I just don't want, again, I don't want somebody that's going to work inside the system.
Well,
that's not entirely true. I want them to work inside the Constitution, the system of the Constitution. But Ron DeSantis is not a mover and a shaker. Like he did some great stuff down in Florida, but he was playing nice with the legislature and with the politicians. He had to play politics to get things done. And if somebody is going to tear down, or pick apart huge swaths of government employees. That I don't care if they do that.
Look how Reagan had to operate. Reagan was a smooth operator.
He was.
And now, granted,
he was in a very different political environment than we are right now, though.
Yeah. Well,
Reagan. I don't even think Reagan would be able to get anything done in the political environment we're in right now.
He always had those blue dog Democrats.
Yeah.
The Zell Millers those old guys like that. That were still for American rights, but still had they were the old Democrat system. But he had to work across the aisle to get things passed, and that's where some things that people are like, "Well, Reagan passed this." It's like, well, sometimes he had to get his agenda through. But
that's the thing, man.
And it's unfortunate, and it's so unfortunate because I heard somebody bring it up the other day. I don't remember who it was that I was listening to. And they said, we are allowing, so the communists have allowed all these people to come across the border. Mm-hmm. Okay. They've opened up the border walls. They're letting all these people flow in. And so now we're negotiating our budget with the communist Democrats on closing the borders. How does that work? You see what I'm saying? Like they're allowing it. They're opened their borders out. They opened our borders up. They're allowing them. It didn't cost them a dime to do it.
Right.
Okay. But now, in order for us to start closing
I see
them,
what you're saying.
Yeah. In order to start closing,
we're having to negotiate
to do what we're supposed to do as a country.
Right.
So, and that's where I think you were getting ready to go with the whole Reagan situation. Is why do we have to negotiate on this stuff when it should be the American people, that those people are up there, that we voted them in office to take care of us, and they could give a crap less about us. They're up there negotiating on stuff that we'd say, hell no. Sorry. Right. I mean, that's just, fine. I mean, and so yeah, I
just don't. I think that almost to the point that you were making, which is that Vivek Ramaswamy is doing a lot of things, saying a lot of things that are very Trumpian, saying a lot of things that mimic Donald Trump. That if we were going to have another candidate, again, if Trump's out of the picture, somebody who is 38 years old, has a boatload of energy, is painfully succinct and has zero problem being direct about answering questions, and wants to tear apart the FBI, tear apart the Department of Education, tear apart all these.
And you and I can sit here and agree on that.
Yeah.
But we also have to look at the American people, and when he has to go push it to an independent voter who doesn't know how they're going to go, how's he going to operate? Because
independent voters are losing money, just like Republicans are losing money, and just like Democrats are losing money.
But there are people out there, and they are the people that we don't see. Like when you and I are sitting here talking, we can agree to disagree on some things, but they are hell bent on a certain way that they think that the president ought to operate. And I could agree with Vivek Ramaswamy if you were going to put him up against somebody, but here it is that you can't put Vivek in with a smooth talker, because Vivek's going to turn everybody off, and they're going to say, no, I don't want him because he is this. Trump has.
You're almost saying that Vivek isn't a smooth talker. That guy.
He is not that smooth a talker. He is not.
We're not listening to the same guy.
I am listening to that guy.
Oh my goodness gracious! Are you kidding me?
He has points. Listen. I know this sounds crazy to anybody that's listening. I know what you're going. What in the world is he talking in circles? As a conservative, we believe a certain way. But as those Democrats that are fed up with the way things are going, and those independents that are fed up with the way things are going, as they look at the big picture, they are not going to agree with Vivek Ramaswamy. They are not going to agree with Vivek. They are not going to, because he is so abrasive in what he has said, and they can pull up any tape, they can throw it out there any time on him. So I think if you are down to those four people and why would I say Ron DeSantis? Because Ron DeSantis
he's more meek and more mild.
He
appeals to more people.
He appeals to more people,
but he's not. That's the. This is my job for the next year. I'm going to convince all of you folks that it's not just about being meek and mild-mannered and appealable to everybody. We need somebody who's going to actually go in and fight.
That's why I said with Ron DeSantis, you gave me a choice between the four people. Yeah. And now if I was going to pick overall, obviously you pick Trump.
Sure.
Because Trump has a proven record. Right. So he can run off his proven record. Okay? And Trump is abrasive. Trump has his own way of operating, but he has been successful in doing it that way. But you're going to end up with more enemies in Congress and not being able to get as many bills passed through Vivek as you would through somebody that's able to negotiate like Trump is. But when you go Ron DeSantis, if you're picking between the four, Ron DeSantis won the debate.
Trump didn't negotiate with anybody.
No, he had to do
tons of executive action.
Executive orders. He had to do executive orders on his, but he had to fight Mitch McConnell. And you can't fight the guy that's holding all the money because
Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, but here's the thing, is he was fighting on all fronts with them. Mm-hmm. And you're fighting Mitch McConnell, who's supposed to be on your side. Mitch McConnell was supposed to be standing by, but he wouldn't because he's a rhino.
He's a unipartisan.
Yeah, that unipartisan thing. So
that's my term, man.
That's your term. That's your term. But he is no different than a communist Democrat. So, you gave me the four choices. I pick Ron DeSantis out of all of them. I kind of explained why I pick Ron DeSantis. But I want you to go through and tell me where I'm wrong.
I'm gonna to answer. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna quote Mitch McConnell.
Oh God, jeez, puke emoji.
That's to quote Mitch McConnell.
Turtle.
Oh gosh. Well, okay. Well, we've passed our hour mark. We got to close this one out, but that's good discussion. I want to know what everybody out there thinks. So y'all let me know. Let me know where you all stand. Obviously, I've made myself very clear. He's made himself pretty clear. But, man, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast.
Oh, no, I'm glad to be here. Thank you again for having me. I enjoy it,
dude.
man.
Yeah, dude.
It's really cool.
Yeah, dude. We'll do it again. But yeah, so again, leave some comments below. We are on X, Rumble, Locals, and YouTube. Be sure to leave your comments, leave your likes, and we'll see you all in the next episode.
Don't forget to watch.
Yep, and watch.